Are you actually listening to people's conversations when their phones are off?
We are.
Apple, for every single app that you use, says, would you like to track across different apps? And I say no. How is it still listening?
If somebody is super strict on their phone, you shut off Siri completely, you shut off the listening on every single app, then no, that won't work. But there's a lot of ways it bypasses. If you have the Google app on your phone, there's all kinds of different ways it bypasses there.
And obviously it's legal.
It's legal.
99% of people, I have to believe, when they hear that, are like, that can't be legal. Is it just in the terms of service?
Mind blowing. Guess who's selling all their data to Apple right now?
All right, Brad. I mainly had you on here because I'm the most curious. You seem like the most interesting man in the world. You just got like hands in different things, but you've got a ton of experience. You offer your expertise. What is your business and how do you make money?
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm only a 50% of that pie. There's a wife that's a co-owner with me on behind the camera. So there's like double of me. So that's super helpful. But I would say she's 60%. I'm 40.
Okay. That sounds about right.
I got lucky.
We all got lucky. That's for darn sure. I got super lucky with my wife.
So there you go.
What's your business?
So Automation Links is our primary business right now, lifelong entrepreneur. And this one helps businesses automate their marketing. So a lot of people have a business, but everything's not puzzled. The puzzle's not together. You got a CRM over here. You want to do some emails over there. Maybe you think you should do social media here, but everything's random. You don't have a system. So we go in there, we build a system so you can just let it run while you build.
When did you start this business?
10 years ago.
Okay, 10 years. And how big is it now?
Yeah, so I've helped over 2,500 businesses 10 years later, 150 active clients with us every month, just a small lean team of 6. We're actually hiring 2 more right now, but it's been a lot of fun. 10 years, a lot of pivots as well. So be ready to pivot.
Especially in your space, marketing. Can you give me an idea of revenue? So you have 150 clients. What does that mean top line?
Yeah, we're right at around 100K a month, 80% margins.
Wow, man.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, we automate it.
Have margins always been like that?
Always. Yep.
Jeez Louise, that is fantastic. When was your aha moment? When were you like, holy crap, this is a money printing machine?
When somebody asked what my margins were like 6 years ago, and I told them, and they were like, what?
How long have you been this size?
We've actually doubled almost every year. Started off really small for a few years, part-time, which we'll probably dive into. But last 4 years, we've been about this size. I've always thought I wanted to grow it, but I haven't, just because I'm enjoying life right now. And I have a few other investments. So technically we could just stay here. We're going to grow it a little bit more over this next year by getting an office and hiring 2 more, but that's about it.
It's interesting with really high margin businesses like this. Like I always look at it from my perspective. In order for me to have had a business, my main background is in healthcare. In order for me to have had a business in healthcare that was doing, let's just say 100,000 a month, 1.2 million a year, 80% net margins is going to be, what is that? Not, holy crap. A little over $1 million a year in profit. Okay. In order for me to have had a $1 million a year profit business, I would have had to have had a $10 to $15 million top line revenue business, which in healthcare, it's big. That's at least 250 employees that you've got to manage, a ton of just operational overhead and infrastructure. So many times you're chasing that top line because you know it's going to translate to the bottom line. But yeah, if I was in your position, it's almost like, at that point, why would you push to grow?
Exactly. And so the nice part is we're getting presented investment opportunities, just like, Alex and Leela Hermosi do. They invest in businesses without having to do much. But because of our systems that we have, I can easily go and invest in a business I know will be profitable and just kind of do that on the side.
That's a really interesting analogy. So do you know much about Alex? Have you ever done any of his courses or read up on him?
I haven't, but a lot of people say we're like them. My wife and I, we came from a fitness business before this business. So it's a pretty funny story, pretty similar.
Well, before we get into the fitness business, I thought what you said was interesting because what Alex's kind of philosophy is right now is they'll invest in businesses, but really he's focused on systematizing sales. It sounds like what you're saying is you'll invest in businesses, but you're also bringing your own systems.
We bring in our whole team and we systemize their ads. Yep. So pretty cool stuff.
I'm an idiot. So will you explain to me, first of all, what's the name of your business?
Automation Links.
What does that do? What does your business do? How does it work?
Yep. So, and real quick, can I touch on the thing 100K a month? A lot of people watching and listening, we are oversold the million a month. Oh, we should be making $1 million or all of this. Well, coming from me doing it 10 years, you'd rather stay small and profitable, such a much better quality of life. And then it allows you to just invest in other things. So just wanted to touch on that. Like the goal isn't for me to be that huge. So
I feel the same exact way because you get to a certain point where I say, I don't want to be a billionaire. I know some people are like, oh, I'd want $1 billion, but I don't want to be a billionaire because I know what it would take to get to be a billionaire. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of time missed with your family or with your friends or doing things that you want to do. Maybe you get really lucky and you inherit it. Maybe you get really lucky, you win the lottery, or you invent an app and you don't actually have to work that hard. But for most people, it's a very difficult thing to do. And they don't understand as you get to a certain point. So if like for you, if you're to grow, your margin is probably going to go down because you need to invest in a team. You need to expand. There'd be a lot more operational complexity to the business. And at that point, it's like, for what? My life's already great.
exactly.
Have you ever heard the Mexican fisherman, not analogy, but what's it called? Parable?
No.
Okay, so there's this Mexican fisherman and this American businessman. And the American businessman is down there and he's vacationing and he's watching this Mexican fisherman. And every day the Mexican fisherman goes out for 2 or 3 hours, fishes, catches fish, comes back, sells them at the market. And the American businessman sees this a couple days in a row. And he's like, man, this guy actually does a really good job. He's really efficient. He can make more money. So he goes and talks to the Mexican fisherman. He's like, hey, right now you're working 2 hours a day. It's like, yeah, if you worked 8 hours a day, you could triple your output and you could go to market. It's like, okay. It's like, and then when you triple your output, you could bring on some other people and you could buy more boats and you could have a larger fishing enterprise and you continue to scale that. And all of a sudden you got a pretty big business. And the Mexican fisherman is like, okay, well, and then what do I do? He's like, and then you just sit on the beach all day, hang out with your friends and play music. And he's like, well, that's already what I do. I fish for a couple hours a day and I hang out with my friends. So it's like, I like
Love
that
it.
parable because many times you're chasing just to get to the thing that you're already doing. So I like you calling that out.
100%. Yep. That's a great parable. I'm going to use that. I'm stealing it.
All right. So tell me, how does it work? Automated links.
I love doing like analogies and explaining it because I could say I automate people's businesses and that's just boring. But have you ever said something? And this happened to me last summer. We were out on our boat, Nick, and my wife said something about an energy drink out on the boat, not on her phone.
Yeah.
Phone's sitting next to her. And all of a sudden, she goes on Instagram and there's the energy drink as an ad in her feed.
Huh. No, that's never happened to me. No, absolutely. Yeah. Happens all the time.
Yeah. So some call it stalking, but some call it brilliant. That's what we do. So we enable a business to show their ads and retarget people everywhere. So they never forget. And nowadays, back in the day, remember when they said you had to sales call someone 7 times and they become a customer? Well, now the stats come out where they got to see you 24 times on 4 different channels. And then they trust you.
Hold on a second. 24 different times on 4 different channels. Is that what you said?
Yep. And that's where we're at now, which we'll touch on.
How much aggregate time is that?
That usually is around 2 to 4 week process where they see you that many times.
Okay. So the first question I have is, wait, are you actually listening to people's conversations when their phones are off?
We are.
Really?
Well, not me,
Okay.
but
I know you're not.
I would love to.
How does that work? Because I thought so I'm an Apple user. Apple, for every single app that you use, says, would you like to track across, different apps? And I say no. How is it still listening?
So if somebody is super strict on their phone, you shut off Siri completely, you shut off the listening on every single app, then no, that won't work. But there's a lot of ways it bypasses. If you have the Google app on your phone, if you don't shut off Siri, there's all kinds of different ways it bypasses there.
And obviously it's legal.
It's legal. I mean, when you sign up for Facebook, you say, hey, sell all my info.
Well, next month, it'll be a year since I started this podcast. I've had over 100 interviews. It's been a ton of fun. But I promised my wife at some point I would decide whether or not this was going to be a business or we would just continue to pay for it out of our pocket. And I'm exploring monetization, to be honest with you. There's not a ton of costs, but I do want to figure out a way to cover the editing and the packaging and the promotion costs of putting this podcast together. So I am looking for sponsors. I don't know what that looks like. If you've enjoyed this podcast and you've ever found some value and you want to sponsor, reach out to me, nick@cofounders.com, and let's get back into it. 99% of people, I have to believe, when they hear that, are like, that can't be legal. Is it just in the terms of service?
Well, mind blowing right now. Guess who's selling all their data to Apple right now? ChatGPT.
Really?
So whatever you put into ChatGPT, they're selling that data to Apple right now.
Why wouldn't they be selling it to Microsoft? I thought they were in a partnership with Microsoft.
I don't know. Maybe they're selling it to everyone.
Is that a core piece of your business? Or is that just like, hey, this is something we do along with all of these other targeting marketing strategies?
That's the core piece now. We used to help people with their Google ads and set up their CRM, but that was still just putting puzzle pieces together. Now we strictly just say, we know your puzzle's not put together. So we're just going to go do your CRM, your emails, show your ads everywhere, just make you omnipresent.
I want to set the table, and I'm going to explain what I think I understand, and then you tell me where I'm wrong. When it comes to digital marketing, from what I understand, there are a couple different channels that you can utilize. The first thing is not a channel, but you mentioned CRM. That's your client or customer relationship management system. So that's going to be Salesforce, HubSpot, Jobber, any of these systems where you track customers. You can market to people through SEO, which is search engine optimization. So you can optimize your website. You can have keywords and backlinks and all these other things that you're optimizing for the web to find you. You can have paid ads. So you can pay Google and Meta to actually run ads and put them in front of your target demographic. You can have, your Google business profile that you optimize to make sure that when you're searching on maps in particular, your business pops up. And then you can have organic social content, right? So you build a social media team and you put out content about your business, who you are, what you offer, et cetera. It's called organic. I mean, it's still marketing, but you're not necessarily paying ads to get that in front of people. You're trying to rely on. You can boost your organic social, but for the most part, it's not the same as necessarily paid ads. Did I miss anything? Are those sort of the channels with digital marketing?
But wait, there's more.
Oh, I did miss some. Okay.
I don't think you missed them, but there's so many. And that's where it gets really frustrating and overwhelming for business owners. It takes you 60 seconds just to name all the channels a business owner should be doing. I mean, it's so hard to nail one of those. You're supposed to be doing SEO all these years, but SEO takes a year to get results. But now you don't have to do SEO now because everyone's using ChatGPT. So I just wasted all that time. I mean, it's just very overwhelming for business owners. And if, small business owners, you can just focus on maybe one of those and get minimal results. But we work with businesses that truly want to scale. So our average business is making over $20,000 a month. They want to make it to $300,000 a month. We build that system for them because it's so overwhelming.
Well, and the other overwhelming thing is, even if you know all of those channels, which channel is the best for your business, right? Is it paid ads? Is it organic? Like you don't even know most of the time, and you got to go do a bunch of research and become an expert in that. So it's really difficult. Where does the stalking come in? Like which line does the stalking that you guys do fall under?
Yeah, so I'll go back to that stat I gave you. I like people seeing me 24 times over 4 channels. And then when I get on that sales call, they're like, I'm ready to sign up. I see you everywhere. Like they already know and trust you. So you got to find those 4 channels your customers are at. Email automation is one. You can email market and remind people through that way. Let's just say you're a B2B business. They're on X or LinkedIn. You can market there. The stalking comes in is, hey, you see me, you come to my website once, or maybe you follow me on Facebook, right? Stalking comes in where then you see me the next day. Then you see a different version of me the day after. And we do this through the ads. You see my email. Then you see my Facebook post. Then you see my YouTube ad. And you just start seeing me everywhere, always following up, omnipresent those 24 times. That's where the stalking comes in.
How do you get my information? Is it I go to your website once and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm tracking you now everywhere that you go? Or like, what's the initial point of contact that you come into a potential customer?
Now, I want to drill this in because this is an action item I want your audience to take today, is setting up your pixels on every channel, even if you're not ready to do ads yet. So a lot of times a business owner doesn't even have pixels on their website or
I don't even know what that means.
There you go.
I'm an idiot. Okay, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so Facebook has it. Every platform has a pixel, a code, HTML code that you put in the bottom of your website for tracking purposes. And so what you have to do is you go to Google, you get a pixel, put it in your website. Go to Facebook, grab their pixel, put it in your site. Every single channel, I have one for X, one for LinkedIn, one for YouTube. And so what happens is you can start collecting all that data. So when you're ready to run ads, you can just say, show my ads to anyone that's been on my website.
Okay, so if I go to LinkedIn, I go to YouTube, I go to X, whatever, I get the pixel and I put it on my website. I don't know how to do that, but I'm assuming it's fairly easy to add to your website. I could probably Google it. What does that do? Someone visits your website and now you'll get their LinkedIn, you'll get their Twitter, you'll get their Facebook?
So you don't get that. You can just go back to Facebook and you can say, here's an ad, show my ad to anyone that's been on my website in the last 60 days.
Does that person have like a unique identifier that Facebook knows who they are?
They do. Each channel has its own identifier through the pixel.
What? Okay, so
It takes
you're blowing my mind here.
Another step forward is
wait.
actually
No, don't go another step. I need to understand this. I'm so sorry.
That's awesome.
I go to your website. I'm just Nick Haluski. I come to your website. Bloop, bloop, and you have this pixel thing set up, right? What information do you take to then go to Facebook and say, hey, target this? Like, did I show up to your website because I've already opted into Facebook's or whatever terms of service, and I'm bringing my personal Facebook ID with me, and then it leaves it on your website, and now you take my personal Facebook ID and you go back to Facebook and you're like, target this person?
Yes.
I love the fact that you are just saying yes and no, and you're not hedging, and you're not like, well, it doesn't exactly work like that. This is gold. Thank you so much.
We don't need to explain it, but it works.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a lot.
This is why tech companies are so valuable. This is why the social platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, they're so valuable because they have the user information. Is this why this was such a big deal a couple of years ago when Apple said, hey, look, Facebook, we're not going to allow you to track across multiple apps? Because then all of a sudden Facebook lost the ability to see where else these people were going.
Huge deal. But now there's ways we can get around that. So we get around it now. But that was a huge deal. But that goes into my next point, which is you can actually pixel people on platform. They don't have to go to your website as well.
What does that mean? Sorry, I don't know what that means. Pixel them on platform?
Yep. So I'll break it down. You see one of my posts on X, on Twitter, and if you stop and read my post for 3 seconds or more, this is on YouTube, Meta, every channel. If you stop for at least 3 seconds, that platform grabs your pixel and I can retarget you now. I can say, hey, 100 people have stopped on this post in the last 30 days, show my next ad and say, hey, I saw you were just reading my post yesterday. This is an ad. Go click on my website now.
So if I'm scrolling through the feed on my phone
and you stop for 3 seconds,
I just stop for 3 seconds, it will know that I'm looking at your post. Do I have to set that up, or is that something that Twitter just does or X does automatically?
You got to enable that pixel. And that's where I wanted everyone to take action today.
So let's say I'm on Twitter. How would I enable the pixel on Twitter?
You go to Twitter ads. You click on more on the bottom left and you'll see a button that says ads. And you basically just create your ad account. You don't have to turn on your ad. Just create the account. And you're going to do this on every channel. Set up, turn on the ad, the pixel, and take that code and go put it in your website. And you can just leave it for now. But that's going to start collecting data. So in a few months, when you're ready to run ads, you've got thousands of people that have already seen you that you can show your ad to.
I would go back to Twitter and I would say, hey, these are all the people that stopped on my post for 3 seconds or more over the last month.
Yep.
I want you to target them.
Only them, because they already know me, like me, and trust me. They've seen me at least once.
So Twitter in particular, if I get, let's say last 2 weeks ago, I had a post that had a 1.5 million impressions on it. Do you know if that's 1.5 million people or if that's just like 500,000 people that saw on average 3 separate times?
I think that's 1.5 million.
Holy crap, dude. So I could set that up and have said, go target these 1.5 million people who saw my post and thought it was interesting.
Exactly. That's where a lot of people are missing out because they don't have those pixels set up. So you have a 1.5 million post, probably don't have your pixels set up. So now you can't just go run an ad to those specific people.
Right.
So let's say you have an event, or maybe you just don't know what you're going to do yet. Just set up those pixels now. So let's say you have an event in a month. You can say, hey, everyone that already knows me, sign up for the event. And they're all going to sign up for the event because they already know you. If you try doing that to people that have never seen you before, you're going to get really low results.
Does that work on Instagram too? If let's say I post an Instagram video.
Yep. Same thing.
I love your brevity.
Even YouTube. So my magic sauce is YouTube.
Okay.
As you can see right here. Yep.
So here's what this is. I wanted to ask you this. Okay. I have started a YouTube channel. I have like 1,700, I think, subscribers. It's taken me 9 months to get that. Chris, my business partner, he started his YouTube channel. He's up to like 120,000 subscribers. It's taken him 9 months. Like he's very gifted at that. But as you're growing on these social platforms, like Twitter, for example, I've noticed, this is more anecdotally, but I've noticed people, and I've spoken to people who have run ads. They've said, the second I ran ads, my organic reach tanked. Like the posts that I was posting, no longer reached the people that I was hoping it would reach. And it took a while for me to get my organic reach back. On YouTube, I know that you can't monetize. You can't get to the number of hours that you need in order to make money from AdSense by doing paid ads. So there's obviously some component there where they don't like ads to drive growth. Is that a thing? Like on Twitter, like if I all of a sudden I started using paid ads, does that limit your organic reach?
It used to be. It's not anymore. It still is for YouTube.
Okay.
But you're thinking about it wrong. And most people are thinking about it wrong. You're thinking I'm going to run ads to build up my channel, right? But you want to build your channel up organically and then use ads to remind people to take an action.
That's a very good framework.
Continue building organically, 1.5 million views on an organic post, and then use an ad to say, hey, remember me? You like my post. Now go click on my website.
So if I'm using ads to grow, that's when I might see the negative, side effects from growth. But if I'm using an ad just to say, hey, please take this action, it's not necessarily the same thing. That is freaking fascinating.
So here's a cool part. YouTube, and I just heard this yesterday, actually. Wealthy people pay $20 a month to not be shown ads on YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do. You watch my organic YouTube video. You learn something from me, right? I don't tell you to go click on anything, but I pixel you. And now you see my ad because you watch my YouTube video on all of Google's networks. You'll see my ad in your Gmail. You'll see it on other people's websites. You'll see it on Google search. You'll see it on the Google app, all because you watched my YouTube video. Even if you have YouTube ads turned off, you'll see me on all of other Google's networks.
What kind of businesses are best for this? Because as I'm listening, it's like, okay, if you have an audience on these social platforms, then this pixel tracking is fantastic because you can see all the people who have come in and out, and then you can target them. But if I'm a small business and I don't necessarily have a social presence, does this work for me?
Yes, at a small scale. One channel, one ad, not 4 channels, every single, try to be everywhere.
Either way, they've got to have a social channel.
At least one.
Or would email count? Like, let's just say they have an email list.
How are they getting email subscribers?
Let's just say they have a website. I don't know. Google Business Profile that drives to their website. That's a good point. Yeah.
Good. Well, Google Business Profile, that means they're doing SEO. So that's our one channel. They're focused on Google SEO, getting someone to Google My Business. They get to the website and then they follow up with those emails, 24 emails. Just keep following up with them.
So if it's coming to your website from Google, because you've got the Google Pixel, you're able to go to Google and say, I want to target these people. And that's when you're able to go into Gmail. You're able to go into Maps. You're able to go into search and target them with ads.
Let's use a couple of business examples.
All right, now's the part of the show where I feel the most uncomfortable, but my therapist says I need to face my fears. So here we are. I've started a newsletter and I want you to subscribe. And what you're going to get every single week are the aggregated conversations from that week that I have on this podcast with an overview of what their business actually looks like. I'm also going to throw in a review of 1 or 2 businesses that are listed for sale. I'll give you my opinion on whether or not the EBITDA multiple is good, or there's customer concentration, or there's red flags or green flags. And then lastly, I'm going to give you one piece of actionable advice every single week on how to buy your first business. So click the link below, subscribe to my newsletter, and let's get back into the show.
Local restaurant, right? Somebody looks for a local food. They go to their Google My Business profile. I'm not going to eat there today. Well, then they can set up a retargeting ad to say, hey, don't forget to come to our restaurant next weekend. How about a solopreneur? Somebody that is starting out, they're trying to start their online business. Let's say they just are specializing in one thing for businesses. Go to X, start doing organic posts where you're helpful, set up those pixels, and then a couple months later, after you get, some people to engage, show another ad and say, hey, by the way, you followed me. Go to my website now.
Does it cost anything to do those pixels, to set them up?
To set them up, it's free. You just have to create the ad account. But actually turn them on, you got to pay per click. It's an ad.
So when I'm running the ad, of course, yes, I have to pay. I have to pay per click. But when I'm just collecting the data, I don't have to pay.
Nope.
Wow.
Quick tip for someone maybe a little bit more advanced, just go to a software like Fiverr or Upwork, and they'll set up all your pixels into a Google Tag Manager. So it's one code, and just hire someone for $15 to go do all those for you.
Interesting. Okay. What's the best profile of business or typical profile of a business that you work with that are using this strategy in particular?
Since I know every business needs customers and sales, and they want to show 24 times any business, but that's a trick question. About half of our clients are like entrepreneurs, B2B style business owners. And then the other half are e-commerce.
Yeah, this would makes a lot of sense for e-commerce. That makes sense.
Yep.
Wow. All right. So if I'm a business owner, and let's say I'm listening to this and I don't have any socials set up, maybe I'm on Twitter, right? Or maybe I have a personal Instagram, or maybe whatever it is, but they're a novice when it comes to this. And they're sitting here and like, Brad, I wouldn't even know how to take advantage of this. Like, what's my first step? What would you tell them?
So choose one channel that your customers are going to be at, or a channel you enjoy being on, as long as your customers want to be on there. Let's say you just like text writing, go to Twitter. So choose one channel you will become the expert on and be the educator on. So I'm going to start there. You have to choose a channel and you have to be the educator on that channel. As an example, I call my YouTube channel boring. All of my content starts on my YouTube channel. So I choose one channel, that's YouTube, and I make one educational, boring video teaching someone something. So choose Twitter, and a few times a week, post an educational piece helping and teaching somebody. If you're new, maybe you don't have that experience, so you could simply just talk about what you're learning for yourself, sharing something you failed at and how you changed it and how it's working for you now. And then stick with that one channel.
Even before start posting to a channel, I'm just going to assume everybody listening to this right now who's a business owner has some type of an SEO strategy, some type of a search strategy. Would that be the easiest first step? It's like, just put the Google pixel on your website and start collecting data so that you can see kind of who's coming. And then maybe a month or two down the road, run a targeted ad. Like, would that be the first easiest step?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No. I think building up and just teaching on one social platform, because you have to think where people are. So I think less and less people are reading articles now, and less people are just going to Google. I was on a client who's in his 20s and young 20s, and we get access to their Google accounts. I logged in. First thing it did was brought me to ChatGPT instead of Google.
Really?
He doesn't even have Google enabled on his browser.
That's amazing.
So it brought me to chat. So the younger people are going to TikTok and ChatGPT for their searches now.
If I'm a home services business, this would be like the only counter to that. I would think, just because I'm a consumer of this, if I'm like, oh crap, I need someone to trim my trees, or I need a plumber, or I need an electrician, I'm going to Google. I'm Googling locally who are those people, or I'm going to Google Maps and I'm looking for those people. Is that not the case anymore? Like, I agree with you on the ChatGPT, because I go to that for questions over Google at this point. But when I'm searching for specific services in my area, I still go to Google.
Yeah. And what do they show first? They show Google Maps now, don't they?
Huh? Yeah.
Yep. So I think you just led me into that. If you're a local business, the best place to be is Google Maps, optimizing the SEO for that. But did you know you can show your ad at the top of Google Maps?
I did not know that. No.
So I have a client, local pizzeria here. He's got 5 locations here in Wilmington. And anytime someone types in pizza or pizza in Wilmington, he's number 1 every time, because we
every single time
sponsored ad at the top, and he has 0 competition. No one else is running ads on Google Maps. He's the only one. So
I mean,
that's
I've
key.
deep dived into digital marketing.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm not an expert. I've never heard the pixel thing before. Is this just like the best kept well-known secret, or was I just an idiot and didn't pay attention to it?
I think idiot didn't pay attention. I'm
Really?
kidding. No, I'm
Jeez.
kidding.
Hey, that wouldn't be the first time, Brad.
That's awesome. No, it's just something that no one thinks they need right now. Oh, I'll do it when I'm ready for ads. Or so you a lot of people don't think they should do it now, but I just say do it now and set it up to collect data.
So you collect this data. Could you then go and look at it and see like, okay, what's the age demographic of people who are coming to my site from Google? Are they males? Are they females? What's their, like, what are all the demographic information that I would get by setting up the pixel?
Male, female, age, location. Like it's probably 70% accurate, 80% accurate, but once it's at scale and you have enough numbers, it's pretty good.
But beyond that, it's not telling me like household income or job type or any of that other stuff. It's just the basics: age, sex, location,
And quantity. How many people? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it will give you unique visitors, right? If somebody comes to your site 10 times, it's not going to tell you there were 10 different people.
Right. Exactly. It'll say you can retarget to 1,000 people. So for a local business, I say you do that on Google, especially somebody does a Google search, they see you on the Google Maps, and then you just want them to see you next time they're on Google or next time they're on YouTube. For that pizza shop, if they come to their website, they then see them on YouTube as a YouTube ad to come back and eat pizza there.
I'm going to tie a bow on this piece. I'm going to just summarize what you said, and I want you to tell me if this is at least somewhat close, and you can correct me where I'm wrong. If I'm listening and I'm a service-based business that gets a lot of traffic from Google, I would go right now and turn on your pixel. That'd be my first thing.
Yep.
If I'm any other business that is using social media, I would either pick a channel or double down on putting, the content out and turn the pixels on for all of those channels.
Yep.
Or if I'm not on social media, I would pick one channel, start educating in a hyper niche way on that channel, and turn on the pixels. That's all pixel related.
Set those pixels up now so you can retarget later. Also, one last point on that. If I try to run ads to just people that have never heard of me before, your cost is much higher. So let's just say, if I just say, hey, I'm going to run this ad on whatever platform and say, you've never heard of me, but go to my website, you'll probably pay $2 for that person to click. But if I run my ad to a pixel, somebody that's already seen me before, that's on my pixel, it's about a quarter of the cost. So you'll pay maybe 50 cents instead of $2.
Wow.
So your cost per click will be much lower once it's time to turn those ads on.
If I'm going to Meta and I'm running ads, they'll ask me, hey, how specific do you want to get? Where do they live? What's their household income? What's their sex? How many children do they have? Are they married? Are they divorced? Whatever. And I can push ads to them. But what you're saying is that's like, hey, this is my ideal customer. Go find them. The pixel is these people have already come to me, retarget them.
For a quarter of the cost.
For a quarter of the cost.
And they already know me. So bingo.
Jeez.
And that's how a business truly scales.
I freaking love this. I think this is the best tactical episode I've ever had. You're fantastic conveying this information. Here's my last question because I wanted to ask it. You said earlier, or maybe I watched it in one of your videos, I think SEO is getting massively disrupted right now. And what's been interesting is if you go and Google anything, ask it a question, any qualitative question, Gemini is now responding back to you with an answer. That is severely limiting all of the SEO that people have invested in over time that were relying on those types of questions and keywords. But you've said that there's like a 4-step ranking system in the new AI answers that Google has. Do I understand that right?
Yeah, that's actually what grew my YouTube channel, was when I realized that about a year and a half ago. Google said that they were going to start doing generative AI answers at the top to give their users a quick response, a quick summary, and they're going to pull that data from sites. So gone are the days where Google said, oh, go read a full article if you want to learn something. Just stay on Google and we'll tell you what it is in a quick summary. And so what I did was I reverse engineered that. I signed up for the beta and I started searching, finding what all those first things were Google was showing. And what they were doing was 4 simple answers to your one question.
Those kind of articles, essentially.
Yeah, how to grow a business. And then they would say, here's 4 steps to grow a business. And each one of those 4 would either come from one article or 4 different articles. That makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So I said, all right, well, where are they getting that info? Well, they're getting it from websites. Well, how are they finding that info on the website? Well, they got to go search for it. And then I realized they were starting to find it from the FAQs on websites as well. So what I started doing was I would do 4 simple answers to your question at the top of every single one of my blogs. I gave Google the exact 4 things I wanted them to put at the top as the answer. And they did it. I've got 10 YouTube video blogs that rank #1 on Google now.
You started as a video and that turned into a blog.
So that's where I talked earlier. YouTube is where all my content starts. So I create a YouTube video, and what that does is it generates my blog post and all my social media post. So what I would do is take that YouTube video transcription, write the blog post, and then give it those 4 simple answers at the top, to where you literally don't have to read my blog because I'm just giving you exactly what you search for at the top.
I watched one of your videos and you have like a very clear content calendar strategy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I'm actually going to be releasing that soon. That'll be great.
I put out a lot of content and I'm always like, what am I posting today? What should it be? Like, I feel like I spend a lot of energy trying to figure out what I'm posting. And I think if I was a business owner, I would be overwhelmed. Well, what am I supposed to post? When do I post? How do I post? Where do I post? Et cetera. You have a really simple system that you're releasing. What is it?
So it's themed days. I have a day. Every day is a theme for me. Motivational Monday, Testimonial Tuesday, Website Wednesday, Throwback Thursday. That's my favorite. And FAQ Friday. And then Relatable Saturday. And so I'm like, I don't know what to post. And I came up with this years ago, and I've been using it ever since. And it's what's really helped me grow is I know every Tuesday I'm posting testimonials on all my channels. Every Thursday,
amazing.
I'm going back at the oldest, ugliest picture of myself, and I'm posting that.
Yeah,
it's a throwback.
Back to the Alex Hormozy conversation, you've systematized it, right?
System.
Like you're only as good as the systems that you create for yourself. And it's hard to stay consistent if you don't have a real system. So I love that.
Cool.
When are you releasing that?
I'd say beginning first week of February. So if you could post that link down below, I want to send it to everyone.
Okay. I'd love one, man. I need to play around with it.
You got to get it.
Well, this has been a fantastic conversation, man. I really, really appreciate you coming on. And I'd encourage anybody listening to go check out Brad's company, Automation. Is it Automated or Automation Links?
Automation Links.
Automation Links.
Yep.
Go check out his YouTube channel as well. It's fantastic content on there, and we'll talk soon.